The year is 1996, and I'm watching Carl Lewis, one of the greatest of all time, win his last gold medal at the 1996 Atlanta Summer Olympics. 9-year-old me couldn't help but to think, I want to do that someday.
A few moments later.
Fast forward to present day, and as many of you may have guessed, I did not go to the Olympics, not even as a volunteer. But that doesn't mean my dream is dead. See, last year my wife and I started planning a trip to the Paris Summer Olympics. In this video, I will discuss all of our expenses, including airfare, lodging, and sporting event tickets. And I know what you're thinking. With the Paris Olympics less than 3 weeks from today, what took you so long to make this video? And hopefully by the end of the video, you'll know why I had to wait so long to get this out to you guys. Let's go. The first thing we did was trying to secure sporting event tickets. It just seemed to us like an obvious first step. And we signed up on the Paris Olympic ticketing website. There was a wait list at the time, and we waited until we got an email saying we finally could buy tickets. Here is the cost of tickets. Once we have some sporting event tickets, we felt secure enough to start looking for a place to stay. Fortunately for me, my two brothers are big sports fans, and they decided to join us in this journey, and that allowed us to get a bigger place and split the cost 3 ways. Collectively, we all decided that we wanted to be in Paris for 10 days from August 1st to August 10th. And here's the cost of our Airbnb. After learning that the opening ceremony was gonna be in the open for the first time in history, my wife and I decided that we also wanted to attend that. So that created a need for us to get a hotel because the opening ceremony fell outside of what we already had. So we ended up securing a hotel in Paris for 2 nights. Fortunately, for one of the 2 nights, I was able to use my Marriott Bonvoy points, so I only paid cash for 1 night. Here's the cost of the hotel for those 2 nights. Here's the problem we encountered. The opening ceremony is on July 26th, and we had a place to stay on August 1st. So we needed to somehow fill the gap between the 27th, the 28th, the 29th, the 30th, and the 31st. So basically we had 5 days to fill up. And so what we did was we started looking for sporting events that were cheap, that we could go watch. And that's how we came up with sailing. So we ended up getting sailing tickets for this much. We're gonna be going down to Marseille, the south of France, to watch sailing. I have never watched sailing in my life, but I'm excited. And I'm also excited to see a new city. So we decided we would do 2 days in Marseille. And because things were starting to get really, really expensive in France, we decided to also take a 3-day trip to London. So we're gonna be taking the train to London, and none of us have ever been to London, so we're excited about that. Anyways, here's the cost of that. So finally, our trip is starting to take shape. We leave the United States on July 24th. We get to Paris on July 25th. We spend the 25th and the 26th, which is the day of the opening ceremony. Then we leave for London on July 27th. We spend 3 days in London. Then we head down to Marseille from London for 2 days, where we get to experience sailing. And we are staying in Aix-en-Provence. We spend 2 days there, and then we head back to Paris, where we meet my family on August 1st. We all stay at the same Airbnb for 10 days until we head back to the United States. Once we got a place to stay, we felt like it was time to get our plane tickets. And this is where I made some mistakes. And I'm gonna summarize the mistakes that I made, okay? The first mistake was my FOMO. My FOMO pushed me to buy these tickets way too early. We're talking about 11 months before departure, which is, I think, the earliest you can get tickets. So anyways, I went to Priceline and I purchased a non-refundable ticket 11 months in advance. Later on, as I would go back to Priceline, I started looking and I started seeing price go down along the way, and throughout the months, I have reached out to Lufthansa and Priceline. I mean, I got to drive to Toronto, which is not ideal because I purchased these tickets to take me to Toronto. So that is not ideal. So that was my mistake. The best thing you can do, even if you do your research on places like Expedia or Priceline, you still want to go to the direct website for each airline you're considering and compare those prices. Not to mention, if you need to make changes, those airline purchase tickets are going to be easier to change. Anyways, long story short, I felt like it was a bad deal. For whatever reason, I started looking at round trip tickets and they were cheaper than buying 2 one-way tickets. So I found this round trip ticket from Detroit to Paris nonstop, and it was very affordable. I mean, this is how much it was. I couldn't say no. So I decided that I wanted to do that instead of driving 4 hours to Toronto, instead of renting a car, instead of having to find a one-way ticket back from Paris to Detroit. To simplify my life, I thought I would just keep that one-way ticket that I already have from Toronto, buy the ticket I really want from Delta, and then later on make the right calls or make whatever calls I need to make to see what I can do with that ticket. So that said, I have $1,500 right now in limbo and at the mercy of Priceline and Lufthansa. Never make this mistake. Okay, moving on from all that. Let's talk about opening ceremony tickets. Opening ceremony tickets were the last tickets I was able to purchase, and actually the reason why I'm only making this video until now. For the longest time, the Paris Olympics organizing committee were pushing these really high price tickets. So what they were doing is rounds of ticket releases where they would be trying to sell the most expensive tickets first. And so for the longest time, I've been trying to get these opening ceremony tickets. I couldn't find any for less than 2,700 euros. I knew that 2,700 euros per person is not something I can afford. So I've been waiting until cheaper tickets come up for sale. Finally, I was able to get this 900 euro per person tickets at the resale website for the Paris Olympics. It's basically a ticket that was supposed to be 900 euros with a 10% fee for that resale website. The Paris Olympics is using their own website. This is the only place where tickets can be resold. They add a fee to the already expensive prices. I felt like for me, this being a dream of mine, and I'm so far invested already, and I know Accounting 101 is, they tell you do not look at the past to make future decisions, but I'm already so deep into this whole Paris Olympics that I thought I want to be at the opening ceremony. This is going to be a historic event that I want to be a part of. So we decided that we are going, and yes, we spent almost $2,200. With that said, this completes our itinerary. Okay, we're gonna be in Paris and London for about 17 days, and we calculated our daily expense budget to be around $200 for 2 people. And that leaves our spending allowance or our spending budget to be $3,400. Our goal is that we can do better than that some days, but I also know that some days we're gonna do worse than that, right? So I think right about $3,500 for spending money is where we're gonna be. We are not planning on doing any shopping. Well, we're not shopping for clothing. We're not interested in that. This is all about the experience. And this is all about doing something that I always wanted to do and doing this with my family. One detail that I left out is that we're also taking my mom. My mom is what got the 3 of us, my brothers and I, into sports. She really cultivated that love for sports in us. So yeah, we get to do this with her, and that's very exciting. My brothers are bringing their significant others also, and I cannot wait. Here is the grand total of how much we spent. Tune back in for a video where I share my experiences of Paris and ultimately whether or not it was worth it. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, interesting, or fun in any kind of way, please give me a like. Also, please consider subscribing, and I will see you in the next one.